Now we're going to be working towards the back with this body lock. Now, anytime my partner does not have an overhook with his arm here, then we can start hitting slide-bys on it. Now, if he does have an overhook, but it's not super strong, right, we still can sometimes do a slide-by, right? We just have to start moving our body to our partner's body, right? And now we have a pretty good angle. We can remove that over. But if he's really cranking that overhook really tight, now, again, it's going to be hard to do a slide-by and get behind him, right? But if he's doing anything else, right? If he's being dumb here and like grabbing the head or something, like here, you'll be able to do a slide by. You know, if he's grabbing me in my lat or something, some judo throw grips will utilize this, right? This sort of grip, anything that's not the overhook, you'll be able to slide by against, right? So from here, I have my hands locked. We can also do a slide by with unlocked hands, but in this case, we're working with the body lock, so we'll keep our hands locked, right? From here, we're going to step through, and we're going to look to shrug our shoulder to our jaw, right? And the action, I'm extending my hands. It's gonna almost feel like a Superman punch, right? So that shrug really moves him away from you and creates space for your head to come through, right? If I just try to just walk behind him, it can be difficult here, right? So one thing that helps is if I keep my shoulder in front of him. My shoulder's behind him. Now, there's not really any purchase on my shoulder to move him, right? So if I walk a little bit to an angle, like a little bit in front of him, now my shoulder is making contact with him. So now when I step through and I shrug, I create that space for my head, and we can look to get to our rear body lock. Remember, whenever we are in our rear body lock, we try to keep our head, our ear, the center of our partner's spine, right? If our head's off to an angle, he just reaches for an overhook, right? And now I no longer have access to my partner's back, right? So I keep my head, my ear in the center of my partner's spine, so when he goes to reach back here, he shouldn't be able to, right? In addition, now I have a pushing surface to push my partner forward, so I can come through to an angle, and now I block my partner's knee, and I use my weight and my head to knock him forward, to put him to his hands, so where we can start attacking the back a little bit better, right? So again, we're into our body lock. I noticed that my partner does not have the overhook, so we just come in, we shrug, and now we get our head behind, right? Now this works best if you just keep your head pointing in the same direction, right? Don't shrug and then try to finagle your head through. If you do it right, you'll just create enough space for your head just to slip right through, right? So we shrug, now we're pulling back into position, right? Clamping over the hip, right in the, our body lock is now in the curve of our partner's hips, like so. And now, again, right, if I don't have my knee to block his foot, and whenever I push him towards his hands, he just steps and he bases with that foot. So I need to take away his ability to step and base. So I come around the corner and I block, right? My knee is pointing inwards towards his crotch from here. And now, when I put him onto his hands, now we can start working from the 4-point, right? 1, 2. All right, now from this position, now we need ways to break our partner down. Okay, so now of course, one way that we just covered is, if I can get to an angle, then I can start looking to pull my partner down to his hands, right? However, oftentimes my partner's doing a great job of pushing on my knees here, right? So when I go to get an angle, I can't do it, right? So now, so it's good to have some other options, right? This next option is also very good for when my partner is trying to actively walk away here or flee the mat even. A good example of this would be Gordon Ryan versus Andre Galvao in 2022 ADCC. I'm gonna show the move first, and then I'll show the best way to practice it and the details. Right, so the move is gonna be Ashi. This is the walking variation of Ashi. Right, my partner is moving here. Right, and we're able to put our partner down to the hip. Right. Again, partner's moving. We're able to put our partner down to the hip. Right? So what makes this work? Right? Anytime that a foot is off the mat, it is now weightless, and we can now move the foot. Right? whenever the foot is on the mat, it's very difficult to move the foot, right? So currently my partner is able to base on that foot, so it's gonna be hard to knock him over, right? However, right, we can work this by having our partner start to walk, and we just get used to mirroring his walk like we're doing the cha-cha, right? And now we time it. So as the foot comes off the mat, we can look to sweep it out with the sole of our foot, right? Again, don't hook or anything like that. Just sweep it out right with the sole of your foot, contouring to his ankle here, right? So we time it, we walk, right? And once we have that timing, we sweep that foot out, right? So now what happened is, when that foot comes off the mat, we swept the foot out, and now we pull him into the space that we created, where he has no base, right? So again, right, partner's moving here. We time that, we sweep the foot out, and then we drag our partner's weight to the mat here, right? And now from here, there's a lot we can do. We'll work on that this week, right? 1, 2. There's also a static variation of the Ashi. So when I have the rear body lock, right? If my partner is not moving, then I can't, of course, do the walking variation. So, but I can still hit the static variation, right? So from here, I'm gonna step my inside foot right in between his legs, right? And that way I can extend off of it and just make that leg light enough to sweep out, right? I'm not doing a full like mat return here, like that or anything. All I needed to be able to do is just usually barely get his heel off the mat, right? Here, there's a lot of friction. If he takes his heel off the mat, right? Even if his whole foot's not off the mat, his heel, right? Oftentimes you can still move the foot because there's not a lot of friction on the mat, right? So I come in, we step in between his legs, and now we just give a little lift, right? So just get used to what it feels like for his heel to come off the mat. And now we can sweep that foot out. And now for this drill, we're going to stay, we're gonna follow this up. We're gonna use a belly whizzer here, right? You can sometimes do this with locked hands, but I find it easier to just go all the way here, deep, and just anchor on the hip. And now from here, his goal is gonna be to get back to his knees, right? So I just use this and I close my elbow down to the mat, so when he goes to come up, it's very difficult for him. He will not be able to come up if he doesn't scissor his legs, right? So if you keep weight on the hip, so if Caesar pulls on my hip here, my right, yeah, right? If you try to keep your knee and your elbow tight here and come up, you won't be able to, right? The only way that he'll be able to come up is if he scissors the legs, right? So the bottom leg comes away, now you can come up, right? But the problem with this is it creates space here for the hook to come in, right? And that's what we're using here. So whenever I've broken my partner down to a hip, whenever I've broken my partner down to a hip here, from here I post out on the mat. I keep my weight and directionality of my force and pulling here out this way, right? So now as he goes to scissor his legs, I just plant on my right foot and my left hand, kind of like we're doing a hip heist or a technical stand-up, right? That allows me to balance and insert my hook, right? So we're nice and tight to him. He's trying to come up, right? The moment we see him scissor, we time and we insert that hook. And now from here, we have the hook in and we can go to work. Right, one of our favorite moves from here is going to be power half, right? We can look to break our partner down and start attacking the back, right? So all together. The static variation of the Ashi. We step in, right? We lift, we knock it down, we keep weight here. So now he has a labored get up. So as he goes to get up, we insert that hook with the space that created. And now we come in, we use power half, and we look to break our partner down and attack the back. All right? 1, 2.